G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by old man host himself, Algared. How you doing, buddy?
I'm alive, which is always a good way to be.
Oh, man, it's not far away now. What do we got? I was trying to do the math. It's like 16 days, man. Till
Yep.
I leave. I don't. How long till you leave?
7, 11.
Math is hard when you're tired.
Yeah, I had to do the thing account. So yeah. So
Carry the
Thursday
one.
week. Thursday week. So yeah.
So we thought we'd do a low-hanging fruit one because we're a bit tired today. So we're going to do top 10 ships for 324. This is a heavily cargo-based patch.
It is.
So you will find there's a lot of cargo ships in this one, unsurprisingly. And there are a couple of surprises in there that I think even surprised me and Algared, and we kind of debated backwards and forwards and rejigged the order and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
the order kind of went around a few times, up and down for some of the ships.
Some went out, some went in. You know, so
yep.
This kind of where we we often do one where it's like a top 5 each, but this one is literally just us debating into a 10.
We literally, because when we looked at the list, I think there was only one. I think we got down to the 10th, and then we were both going, I think this one, and we went, hang on, and wiped both of those out and chucked another one in. So
yeah.
So it definitely was a collaborative effort rather than just doing 5 each. So
yeah, so this is more of a traditional top 10 outside our kind of purview. So key it off the browser, and this is our first one. So we do have notable mentions too. We'll mention the notable ones at the end. But yeah, first cap off the rank, Algared. Algared found this picture, so I think he did a really good job. I like the nice little detail in the Vulture there.
Yeah, I did like the kind of that rusted almost going under the paint of the Vulture. It's a nice ship, but I like this ship because it's salvage. It's kind of doing cargo as well as salvage because you're loading up your cargo.
Believe it or not,
it's a nice little ship.
I actually this was the first ship that I used in Evari to do cargo loading, because it was the only one that was big enough that I had in my list that could carry. And I didn't even think of another ship that's on this list at the time, and that's why I moved to that. And that's probably why it's on this list, because I started to think of it more and more, and I started using it more and more, and I just started to realize that it's got an interesting place in where it sits. And the more time I spent with it, the more I realized. By the way, this is caveat, right? I just realized caveat. None of these ships are based on price, because if price came into this list would change again. So this is literally this is just purely in game. In game,
we liked the feel of in game
right now
at this present point in time.
So yeah, Vulture's one of the few that for salvage. There's not many other gameplays that are not cargo in this one, is there really?
No. I think this is really the one that's outside of that cargo purview.
There are others in our outliers that we'll talk about, but this one was the best of the outliers, so to speak, because we kind of had 9 and then we needed one more from the outliers, and this was the one that made the cut. And I think mainly this made the cut because it had more cargo features or easier access to cargo than the others. So yeah. So this one's the weirdest of the lot, is how I'd kind of put that, unless you think differently to that one, Aaron.
No, I 100% agree. That was kind of a reasoning I was thinking. It sat there, and it's real easy for a single person to take it out. I know when we were originally discussing, we were talking about the possibility for Reclaimer, and my view was, I like it, but Reclaimer's so slow and it's got more people. This is faster and it's got one person. So for me, it was just had a nicer feel for being able to do stuff without making you feel like
I'll ask you
forever young.
An off-the-cuff question here. Because of its SCU count, I think another ship that would fall into this, even though it's not in game right now, that would kind of line up with the analogy of this one, would be the Vulcan. Same SCU count, but it also gives you that added gameplay beyond cargo, but it's not in 324, so that'll never exist. But you get my point, what I'm trying to make, right?
No, I think you're right. I think it is in that same ballpark of being a ship. The only thing that makes it slightly less than this, I think, is the fact that the Vulcan really requires 2 or more people, or 2 people, whereas this is purely a single person job or rated as a single person.
It really shows you how low down some of the real basic starters are. Like just with the 4 SCU, this is 3 times as much, and it's just and it does all this other shit. It's just it's just crazy how quickly it jumps in value. Is it, I guess is what I'd call it. Yeah,
indeed.
All right, next one, Freelancer Max, Algared. Go for this one, mate. Why did we pick this
Max, it's got the big cargo, and it's a freelancer.
Yep. So it probably has dropped down because it's a freelancer, but it's up there because it's got lots of cargo, and it actually is pretty good at that. And obviously, it's looking more and more likely with the medium variants, as this is the only one that can carry the rover. Which is a medium-sized vehicle, which puts it in a different league. The Zeus does not look like it's going to do that coming next patch, obviously. So we are going outside this episode's purview again, but you get what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to talk this one up, but yeah.
When I was doing Justice 2 and doing those cargo type runs and building up, I actually skipped the Cutlass and went to the Freelancer Max.
Interesting.
So. Because the price was not that much, it was like, I can get the Cutlass, but then if I go a little bit longer, I can get the Max, and the Max will last me even longer still. So, that was me. It was just one of those little things I liked. But yeah, next.
Yep. I don't disagree with anything you said there, by the way. I do find it funny how you went straight to a freelancer because Old Man Hurston doesn't like Drake, but that's cool.
Well,
that's all I heard. That's all I heard what you said.
But it was the price differential and the time.
Yeah,
was just the amount of cargo, the extra cargo I could take in this if I saved a little bit longer was smallest violin in the world playing just for me. Yeah, I get it.
I'm feeling like I give a fuck.
Yeah. I'll just call you Nero.
I do this to my mum and it drives her mad.
But nothing. It was honestly nothing against the Cutlass. I almost did get the Cutlass, but it was just that move that just made me think I can get more if I wait a little bit longer. I can get more cargo into it, and
So people would say, "Oh, this is kind of a step backwards from the Freelancer Max," but the reason this comes here is the tractor beam, and as you'll probably realize as we go forward, though. But there's a reason why this is not above other things. That's why what came into debate here is like, what features does this add to cargo, and what features does it add to this patch, right? Specifically 324. And this is a really weird one. This thing needs some tractor love help. It's the fact that it can tractor beam things, but it can't put it in itself.
Yeah, so that's it.
So what are you doing? Are you tractor beaming it so you can position it for a scoop?
Or are you using it to load other ships?
Yeah, it's in a weird place.
And yet we saw the Zeus's articulated arm for its tractor beam. That is almost what this thing needs.
Do you know what I actually think this needs? I just think they need to move it to the back.
Yeah.
Just yoink off here and put it on the back. And then and just say that the hard point has been moved. You don't need another gun here. Just move it to the back. It would solve everything because then you can load it into.
And then.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe something to do with the engine, like maybe they put a fuel scoop up here or something like that or whatever. And it's like, well, they sacrificed something on the engine at the back and they moved it to the front. It's just moved around.
No, I could see that as being a fix. Whether they can do that without changing too much geometry and.
Well, the only other fix is to rotate the whole elevator so it can load onto itself and then make this rotatable. So the least amount of work is put that on the back. Yeah.
Give it the articulated arm, But whatever CIG want to do to fix that, to give it that tractor love, would be great. But at the moment, because it can't load itself with its tractor beam, it's way down on the list.
It kind of reminds me what's going on with the Cutlass, where it was almost like an afterthought, and they've kind of had to move it 3 times now to get that tractor beam to work in the right spot, where they've just looked at this and gone, too much work, and they've just kind of left it. But yeah. All right, next one. The Corsair. Fire all guns. That's why I grabbed this image.
Fire everything.
It's obviously a really good combo with the piracy and all that. It allows you to kind of go, you got the combat and the cargo kind of working in tandem. Obviously, it's got less cargo than some of the other ships as you're going to see as we go up. But again, we don't have a lot of combat ships in this list. There's only really kind of 2 that I would say are more towards that, and this being one of them, maybe a third one. But you guys can listen on the comments what you think there. But Algared, your thoughts on this one?
No, I think this is it's got a nice amount of cargo. It enables you to do that. It does have a firepower. It is a multi-crew ship. Pretty much everything you said.
What's happening with the Redeemer too? That really changes the ship for me quite a lot. Like, it actually has put it back into, do I need this on my list now? Where before it was like, well, no, I've got a Connie and I've got a Redeemer. I don't need this. Now I'm like, So yeah, time will tell. I'll let you guys know if I end up picking one back up.
Yep.
Right. Everyone's favorite, the old Connie Andromeda.
Yep. Yeah, I've got to admit, I love the Connie. This was my first ship, but overbought. It's multi-crew. It's got, 2 better turrets now, certainly with the new patch coming.
Yep.
But it's got size 5 weapons on the nacelles. It's got missiles. It's got size 1s. It's got size 2s. It's got internal missiles, so you can reload them. And it's got a nice amount of cargo. Plus, it's got a P-52 fighter.
Turn the volume off and it's still... God damn it. Right. Yeah, so everything the Corsair had, easier scoop cargo, just other advantages above what the Corsair has, basically, is for me. The big one is the loading and unloading, pretty much the same guns, and probably just a little bit, this is going to sound weird, a bit more taste than the Drake. But yeah, obviously you need some love as well in other areas, but in this patch, it's just a step above the Connie. The Corsair, sorry.
And when I look at a Corsair and a Connie, like the Connie Andromeda versus the Corsair seem on paper to be fairly even weapon wise. Like this has slightly less weapons, but then it's got the fighter, which means you've got a different target to use. They're both multi-crew. They've both got so very similar. But I think the Connie just pips the Corsair.
Yep, agreed, 100%. Right, this one will be a surprise for a lot of people because me and Algared tend to dunk on this ship a lot, but it's the Nomad. As I mentioned, the Vulture, I moved from the Vulture to the Nomad during Evo testing because I had a couple that were given to me as giveaways by CIG, and I was just like, okay, this is easier access. I'm starting to see the advantage of this ship over some of the other ones having the external cargo, but it's kind of also open. So there are other factors that will come down the line that make it worse than other cargo ships. But just for the ships that I had available, and let's be honest, I don't have a lot of starter ships. So rather than go use something like a C2 loaner or something much bigger that took a lot more time on the starting cargo missions, this was handy on those. Now, I'm not saying it's the best cargo ship or anything like that, but for 324, it was damn useful.
Yeah. But I think one of the points we've always made about the ship was the price. And this was probably one of the few lists where we didn't even consider price when we were putting it together.
It's in game, isn't it? 100% in game ship.
It was in game, and it was ships that really appealed or caught our eye from watching others play. And the Nomad is one of those ships.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Algared, isn't it? Like, once the game comes out, it's going to be a great leveler of value of ships because the price is going to change on a lot of them. Like even the A2, right, as an example, ridiculously expensive, not kind of really worth its value, but when it comes in game and they balance those prices out, not going to seem so bad.
No.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Next.
All right.
Going up our list, getting higher.
Yep. The Atlas. This dropped in this patch, but it's amazing at what it does. And it's making everyone question about how tractor beams work and stuff like that. But for this patch, like the patch that it dropped in, like considering they were dropping the pentagram and then they dropped this, why the hell would you ever lead with the pentagram? Lead with this. I think they led with the pentagram because they knew it wasn't going to sell very well, but they knew this was, so they wanted to put that out first, or it would have got nothing. But yeah, Titan suits confirmed, really, really cool. Obviously, that means there's a lot more we can hear about Titan suits at CitizenCon. It's almost really helped with the hype of the game for CitizenCon, believe it or not, because it's got people asking lots of questions. But yeah, for 324, taking it back to the actual patch, amazingly good. A few little issues here and there, like for the way it holds boxes too high on certain ships, it's not the best. But that'll all be teething issues that can be adjusted in time.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I don't like about it is the fact that it doesn't fit into a lot of ships that you'd expect it to fit into. So getting it into a reclaimer is difficult. You can't get it into the salvage hold of a reclaimer. You can get it on the lift.
Yeah.
But you can't get it into that salvage hold where it would be really useful. You can get it into the cargo hold though.
Yeah.
So
even like it almost was like it was rushly put in like too quickly. They're testing this so they can get other Titan suits ready for launch at CitizenCon. That's what it feels like to me. Like the way the first day it went in, there was just things that did not make sense. Even things like I said, with the height of the boxes, you would hope in future that you could adjust the height that they go to. Or even why do they go up? Why can't you make it go lower or off to the side or something like that? So you could actually tailor the suck-in position, I don't want us to call that, to where you want it to be. So it's just slightly off to the right, or is it slightly off to the left, depending on the ship you're on and stuff like that. That would be really cool tailoring solutions that would take this to a completely another level, that I think all those quality of life things we eventually see Algared. I bet you at some point someone's talked about that. And we'll see those.
I wouldn't be surprised to see those types of quality of life things. But one of the things that did surprise me with this is I could walk onto a cutter.
Yep.
So, was it the cutter? Yes, it was the cutter. I could walk it into the cutter.
Yeah. Well, even that eventually, I think you'd want to be able to track beam this, like turn it sideways and put it onto things. Like it can't fit through the door, but if you turn it sideways, you'd be able to put it in. And like we talked about the Redeemer, it's got 2 SCU cargo that should fit on the cargo grid. And the whole reason we're testing things like that and the Tanner was because then you can put a combat Titan in there. If it takes up to it, like that just takes a combat ship to a different level. If you can take a Titan suit and just drop it off unexpectedly, like that could be really cool. A little versatility.
I think, I'd like to see ships that could take, combat mechs being able to walk them off, because I think that gives them a lot more value than having to get someone with a tractor beam to offload it and then someone to be able to get into, But yeah, I did like the idea of this. It is a lot of fun. It can move lots of cargo. It can load the bigger ships really easily. I could load the small ships, but at that point, you just use your hand tractor beam to do the smaller ships, I think. But yeah, that's why it's so high on our list.
Yep. All right. Rounding up to number 3. Now, we grouped 3 of them together here. We do have a picture of the M2, but this is also for the C2 and the A2 because they're all kind of in the same vein. And I guess there is more difference between the A2 and the others, but just the sheer amount of cargo that these 3 move at the moment and the easy access with the doors is why these are here, Algared. I don't think you would disagree with me on that one.
No. The thing that I like about the M2 and the C2 is the fact that you literally drive on, drive off. You could literally be having someone, you go to a place, you've ordered new cargo, someone's dropping off the old cargo while the new stuff's being pulled in. It is that type of value.
Yeah, and I do honestly think, given time, the Caterpillar will take over this. It's just that the tractor beams and the doors don't have that ease of access yet because the elevator part of the Caterpillar doesn't work, but and a lot of the ship tractor beams are not in the best position right now, but when they do work, they're exceptional. So yeah, that's again like when we talked about the Nomad, like it's just a step above the 315p because it can load itself, where the 315p can't. So yeah,
and I imagine in future patches, the Ironclad will again be in that type of situation as well, or the Liberator, but again, they're not in game. So
absolutely,
this is looking at that. These are the ships that are in game that do that cargo aspect. We think really well.
No, 100% agree with everything you just said right there. Right, number two. This is the ship that I ended up transitioning to a lot in Evari, and I ended up using this more and more, even more than the Nomad. And this came about because I picked one up with credits for the skins for AIE when they rock around. And then because of the PTU, I just, updated my Evari thing, and then I could start using this. And I was falling in love with it all over again. It's just a fantastic ship. The Cutlass is kind of there as well, but with this thing existing and just the style, it kind of speaks to me a bit more. And again, the Zeus CLL will come along, and I'll probably get tempered by that too. It's the new shiny, but again, for 324, it's just a damn nice ship. It's fast, and I think that's where the Zeus will fall behind this one, is the speed.
And the other thing that really does help with this is the fact that the tractor beam is so nicely positioned to be able to, that remote tractor beam is beautifully positioned to be able to load.
You can move it. That's insane. It works in the front of the ship, all above, and then you can move it, and it works behind and partially below. Like, it's got such better coverage than any of the other tractor beams in the entire game. I think the only one that's going to rival it, as you kind of pointed out back before, is the articulated arm on the CL, and I still don't think it's as good as this, because that's got 2 positions, or this has got 2 positions. The CL's only kind of really got the one, but it's further out, so it'll be interesting to see which ones compete there.
Indeed.
Right, number one. The Taurus. Now, I don't know if this is a weird choice for some of you, but this, and again, we did talk about the Connie, so technically it should have been put in with the Connie group, but it's just so far out in front of the other Connies.
Yeah, and the reason we did separate it was just so far out in terms of cargo.
Yeah.
This dwarfs the other Connies in terms of the ability. And it's able to do that because you lose a fighter. But as I was saying, how many times have you seen a Connie Andromeda or Aquila or what's the other one? Phoenix. Actually drop the fighter off in combat. Yeah. And I haven't. Because 90% of the time, you've only got 3 people on the ship.
Yeah, and he asked me that as well too, and I really haven't seen that since the Merlin kind of patch dropped. I haven't seen people doing that. But again, it does everything. It does the pirate. It's one of the best pirate ships right now in the entire game. Easy to pick stuff up. It's got the tractor beam. You can just suck things in, drop it off very easily into the cargo bay, and it's got all those guns on it. And now the Redeemer's taken a step back, and the Corsair doesn't have the tractor beam, right? And the Connie doesn't have the tractor beam. It's the tractor beam that really takes this above the Connie and the Corsair. Yeah. And I know you're going to go, but they were all the way back down on the list, like 5 and 6 or whatever. Yeah. Yes, it makes that much of a difference.
It does. And the fact that this also has basically twice the cargo that a Connie does as well. Yeah. It's the extra long cargo bay really does give that. And when you look at the weapons of this, this is only 2 size 3s on the lower turret, less than a Connie Andromeda in weaponry.
And that's worth it. That's worth the swapping, because you still got those main size 5s, those 4 size 5s, which is, let's be honest,
and all your size 1 missiles and all your size 2 missiles.
Yep. You could see why this thing's had 2 price increases. They saw it coming before we did. So yeah, I don't know. I'll kind of put it back to you guys now in the comments. Let us know what you think about our top 10 this week for 324. That's our top 10. Give us your top 10. Tell us if you think we're crazy. But again, it's for 324 in game right now, and you got to take the kind of things that roll in with this patch. And there's also a bit of bugginess there as well. Like some other things have dropped back and stuff like that. Oh, we do have notable exceptions there. So let's go through those real quick. So these are not in any order. We didn't order these ones. So these are the ones that we felt that were outliers. So I'll do the top 3. Agri, do you want to do the bottom 3?
Yep. Okay.
All right. So we got 400i. That kind of came in because it does have a bit of cargo. It's pretty good solo, and it's pretty defensive. But you can see why it dropped back behind other things, because it's not the best at cargo. It was a bit too mishmashy. Would you agree with that, Agrid?
Yeah. I think if I was looking for a role that it really fulfills, it's really an explorer rather than the cargo holo. But it can do cargo.
Yeah, which is why it dropped back. And the other 2 I'm going to mention, I'm going to roll these 2 together, is the Mole and the Prospector. Mining is still pretty good, but it's just not at the forefront of this patch, and it's dropped back a little bit. And again, they don't really do any cargo, so it kind of drops back a bit in my eyes. Not that they're not, it's just not focused on this patch, and that's again why they drop back. All right, Agrid, you go, mate.
Probably the what I would have considered the last of the ships would have made the list would have been the Ares Inferno.
Yep.
It is a fun ship to fly. It does do a lot of the rapid fire of a gun is very nice to see it hitting people and blowing them up. I was watching Pete fly one, piss poor Pete fly one last night. He was having a lot of fun with it. He seemed to be having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, causing chaos.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it is a nice ship. But again, in his patch, it's a one trick pony. It's just combat, and this patch is a cargo patch, so it kind of falls down. The next one is the raft. Again, the next two are in no particular order. The raft. It is a cargo ship, and yet it doesn't make it because it's just doesn't feel like it's there. Like, and one of the things that I think is immersion breaking, and you raise it, is the fact that yes, you can carry any box, any size box, but the small boxes kind of just hang there, kind of invisible.
It's clearly designed for 32 SCU cargo containers, and that just takes it down a notch in my book. Yes, it's cool. It's awesome for people that own it, but we all know once that thing comes online as a sky crane, it's going to be on a different level. I'd almost say it's going to get a price increase. So look for that to make a top 10 list in future patches, but at the moment it's just not there. And the last ship that we had in our honourable mentions was Reclaimer. And it really got pipped by the Vulture just because it was so slow. Probably a little bit by the Hercules and stuff as well, because it just it's just not it's got problems loading basically. And yes, you can get the Atlas into the actual cargo bay, but you can't get into the salvage bay. Teething issues. So it shows all the things why it needs. It's going to clearly get a rework, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was in it the other day. It's still got a docking port on the roof. Yeah, not going to happen. We know just for the sake of AI and movement, they're getting rid of those just so it's easier for movement and the rest of it. So yeah.
All right, then.
That was our last of our honourable mentions.
Is there anything you want to hear from people in the comments below?
Yeah. What ship is our screensaver?
Hagrid knows that's a fake ship. I'm going to spoil it. That's a fake ship. It doesn't exist. But yeah, make up a name for it. Have a poke at Algared. What would you call it? What would Old Man Hurston's ship be? Yeah, let me know in the comments. Yeah, see, I turned that around against you. That's why you don't stuff with people. Yeah, you're in trouble.
Stuffing with you.
No, with me. You're stuffing the audience. Now the audience is going to stuff with you. Yeah, right. The burnt toast, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They'll come up with a better name. Right. With that, then
it's an express Uber delivery service.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, I like that. All right.
See, and it's flying into atmosphere because someone's in need.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, bring that notification bell. Thank you to everyone that went the extra mile at the end of the year on Patreon. All right. With that, then he's been Old Man Hurston or Algared.
He's been the Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.